are.
You just mentioned, G, that it's starting to feel like maybe the suspension won't be quite as much as we thought. I've been consistently saying 8 games, and I was actually talking to somebody about the show this weekend. I was being interviewed. Shout out to the Cleveland Jewish News for doing an article about the show, and that's how Brad and I first met, doing the Cleveland Jewish News breakfast, because nothing says Jewish like Brad Zeller. So
First thing that comes to my mind. Yep.
Mine and Ian.
There you go. but anyway, like, obviously there was no real news on the story this weekend, guys. And maybe it's just us being hopeful. But it is starting to feel like, at least to me and clearly to you, because you just said it, that maybe this suspension is going to be a lot shorter than we think. Are we just kidding ourselves, or do you think it's really going that way?
Well, I think that it is a little bit hopeful, but I will say this. Mike Florio has been the most staunchest of guys when it comes to saying, hey, he's going to get a whole year. He's going to get a year, indefinite. And when he came out and kind of broke down some things and actually heard from somebody inside, and they said, look, man, I mean, the testimony was, didn't say Deshaun Watson forced anybody to do anything. It now looks as if it'll be very difficult for the league to say 1 year. And so now as this stuff is coming out, I think you look at the NFL Players Association, and I always look at the fact that you're allowed to file these briefings afterwards, right? And you can file some paperwork to say, and also think about this. And also, hey, why don't you think about this? Those type of things for me start to think that now the Browns, Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson's attorney have to be feeling a little better because now they got Buzbee off their tail. But he was killing them in the press. They filed and settled 20 of them. Now it's like, okay, you got the 4, but he was a mastermind in playing this trial throughout in terms of when we look at the people and in public eye. And now he's off the trail a little bit. Now I think the NFL has not been as successful as he was as painting the picture and the narrative.
Well, I'll tell you this, that I don't know if he got Buzbee off the trail. Buzbee is here to advocate for his clients, right? And he got to his clients the best they were going to get. After the criminal proceedings, there were no indictment on Deshaun Watson in Texas. I think that Buzbee did what he had to do to advocate for his clients. Now, you still got 4 outstanding cases here. And I'm not, you and I are pretty tight on this thing, but I don't know because I just feel like the court of public opinion is out here because if the NFL comes back with 0 on the table, it's going to be a problem.
It's not going to be 0, but do you disagree?
1, 2 is a problem.
We're at least convincing ourselves that this thing is not going to be as bad as we maybe initially thought. Do you feel the same way?
I never thought it was a year, right? Because I just think the case, the semantics of the case and the facts lead to, I don't know how you get to this year or definite suspension.
Right.
I understood their stance because they had to, after Ray Rice, the NFL has to take a hard stance out here, right? And if something was committed that was felonious, you have to deal with it. But I don't think that case was laid down. It may still yet come. I don't see it coming with the other 4 cases. I think it can stay civil. But in this case here, Deshaun Watson I feel is in a much better position now after the 3-day hearing than he was before. But I'll say this. Everybody has to be under scope. You think Judge Sue Robinson is under any pressure here? If you don't think she's under any pressure, I don't care if she go to the grocery store, she's under pressure, right? So
from both sides.
From both sides,
yeah.
Right? So the briefs are due on the 11th. We're going to see what happens here, but I don't think this ruling is coming 5 days after those briefs are filed. I don't think that at all.
I think there's a chance, Mike, that we keep creating a timeline in the media of when this is going to happen. And I think we've been kidding ourselves on that angle at least the whole time. I think it's possible training camp starts and we still don't have a decision.
I think that's true. And I think I've been processing this way too much lately. And I've been thinking about this. And this will be a weird thing to say, but at this point, I really think maybe the best case scenario is the year, a whole year.
So you're going the other way.
Here's what I'm thinking. Yeah. All right, you said it yourself. It can't be 0 games.
Right.
It can't be 2 games because Tom Brady got suspended how many games for deflating
4.
footballs?
4.
Right.
Yeah.
So and that doesn't look good. Like I know that we shouldn't care about what looks good, but they do care, whether that's right or not. If it's half the season, then your playoff hopes are pretty much dashed, I would say at that point, unless they do something ridiculous. And then he comes back, and then what do you do? At that point, you lost a year of his contract. If you can still maintain that year of his contract, and count next year as his first year, which is a possibility from what I understand. Is that not true?
Yep.
Yes.
Then you get a year off. We have that much more cap space next year because he'll have him on that ridiculous contract for $1 million if it's his first year. So the more I think about this, the more I think that possibly the best case scenario is the entire year.
It's an interesting angle, guys. I wonder if anybody else agrees.
I doubt that very much. I'm assuming, including the commenters at home, but I really think
Twitter
it's
is going to
Interesting
love that
angle
one.
that
I'm thinking-
if you think they can't make the playoffs if Deshaun is suspended for 8 games,
and I don't.
then it actually it would make the Browns would be better off if he got suspended for a year. Now, I do think they can make the playoffs even if he's suspended for 8 games. I don't like their chances as much, obviously, but I still think they got a shot. What do you guys think? It's an interesting point that we hadn't really talked about.
Well, Bull, I feel like this, that I think the way, and I've said it before, I think the way the contract was structured, the Browns anticipated something going south, a potential of going south.
Right.
That's why they structured the deal that they did. Now, I'm the only one on this panel that has been saying this from the beginning. I'm an old school guy, Mike. Right? I got a guy under contract. He's going nowhere. He's going to be under that center when I need him under that center.
Yeah.
And even if he's under that center, I'm going to tell you what, I still got a shot here to be a playoff team. I do. He's not a bum, right? He's not Brady. He's just not a bum. He's not a bum.
I
He's
like
not
that we're
Brady.
not saying his name right now like he's Macbeth or something like that. No, you're right. I'm with you on that too, by the way. And I totally agree. And I'm assuming when I say that they can't make the playoffs, I'm assuming that he's not taking a snap, that Baker's not taking a snap. I'm assuming that we're going with Jacoby for those first 8 games. And no offense again to my Brissett bros out there, but I don't see him going 6-2 waiting for Deshaun to get back. So I'm assuming when I say that if Baker is under center, then it's a different deal.
So let me ask you. I'm gonna flip it on you. So if Baker said he gets wisdom and says, okay, I'm coming to camp. Right?
Yes.
So who you put under center if they're both there?
Between the two of them.
Brissett.
Oh, I see. Baker in a heartbeat. If he's willing to play ball, I'd rather have him. I've been saying that since the beginning.
Okay, but
you're right.
Let's say pie in the sky, even though Garrett and I have been saying this is never going to happen. If Baker was here, would you then not want Deshaun to get suspended for a full year and only 8 games because now you still think they can make the playoffs? Or would you not?
Man, I need like another week and a half to think about that. No, you're right. That's a fair question. I would still want him under center, yes. I think he gives me the best chance to win, and that's who I want under center, especially when this team is good and ready to go.
Yeah.
We have a small window.
Right.
We can't if we have the opportunity for this fan base to try and get them back to the playoffs, you have to do what's right for the fan base. And I think in that case, you put your best quarterback under center, whether he likes it or not, whether he's pissy or not. You just got to do it.
G?
And I look at it like this, man. And I just always go to the aftermath, right? So we talked about Baker Mayfield, and one of the worst things that you could do from a standpoint is look like you flip-flopping.
Yeah.
If you Andrew Berry, you made this decision, right? You made it. You said, I'm going to live and die with this decision with Deshaun Watson.
Right.
I not only brought in Jacoby Brissett, I brought in Josh Dobbs, and I got rid of Case Keenum. So you basically said, come hell or high water, I'm about to keep the whole room different. I don't want nothing else that was in that room last year. Now, you got to think about it. If Baker Mayfield comes in riding on that white steed, he's the savior. He comes in, and you think if that man don't win a couple games in the first part, listen, that is what the media is waiting on.
Oh, the controversy.
You would have a literal problem.
And what goes up with that?
What
goes up with that? Come on.
But
Keep coming.
what comes down with that is this. Kevin Stefanski is saying, nah, Andrew Berry, nah, I didn't like how he was talking to me. Last year he talked about it was I put him in a bad situation and we wasn't doing what we supposed to, and I'm going to figure out what I need to do. See, you got to look at it. Who's the next up on the chopping block if it goes wrong?
Fancy.
That's a fancy.
It was OBJ at first, he gone. Baker Mayfield was second, he gone. The next up on the list is Kevin Stefanski.
You mean the 2020 Coach of the Year?
Yes.
Let me
It
tell you.
changes quickly, guys.
Let me tell you how this works. The player's the first one up on the block. Then it's
Well,
the coach.
yes.
So this is nothing abnormal. This is how
Right.
it works.
Yeah.
And so I call your nickname is G, right?
Right.
So let's go. Let's be a straight G here. Right. So I'm a straight G, and I'm the owner. I don't care about that side stuff.
Right.
That's true.
I've been hammered with this this league decision. My whole dynamic here has changed.
And we can agree
That's-
the chopping block never goes
No, it ain't
player,
going that
coach,
way.
and then owner.
Never,
The owners
never.
never
It's never going
get.
that way.
Guys, let me ask you this. Rapid fire here. What happens first? Baker gets traded, or the Deshaun Watson suspension or non-suspension is decided? What happens first?
So I say first that Deshaun Baker goes nowhere till I find out about
Yes.
Watson.
You
Right?
that's what you want, or you think that's
No,
what's going to
that's
happen?
what's gonna happen.
You think that's what's going to
Totally,
happen? Mike?
totally agree. It doesn't make any sense to make that move until you know what you're waiting for.
Fact. He was right on that. You figure out what Deshaun Watson is and what he ain't, and then that gives you an opportunity to see, okay, well, we can put Baker and how we're going to get something back.
All right, I'm going to be the contrarian. I'll say he gets traded first before the suspension.
But doesn't that give them less negotiating power right then at this point?
It does, but I think as we're getting closer to training camp, I think someone will get a tiny bit desperate and give up a little something for him.
So, Bull, do you think that there's no player on the Browns team now
Yeah.
that's thinking like, hold on, the guys that
Oh, they probably are.
They've been around for a long
Yeah.
time and know how close, because they're closer than most, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The talent level is closer than most. Some guys, the veteran guys, that being like, hold on, don't be hasty here. Hold on,
You're probably right.
let's play this
Yes.
out here and see what happens.
Yeah.
Here. Let's not be making moves just to be making moves to make people happy.
I hope they're listening.
So what we're saying is, if Deshaun Watson is suspended for more than 8 games, you're telling me, and it's essentially we're saying all three of us would like a different quarterback other than Jacoby Brissett.
I don't think Jacoby Brissett he's a decent player. He's not a guy I'm a ride the horse on.
He's a
to
backup.
the final.
He's a backup.
I got a guy here that at least has been there.
Yeah.
And I said, here, we going with Deshaun Watson from here forward.
Yeah.
But I need just somebody to hold me over in the
Yeah.
stead. That's all I need.
I like, and I think it's Garoppolo to me. If you can't,
Yeah.
if you,
I agree with you.
I would go with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Sure.
If I couldn't,
Please.
if
I'd love that. Bring it
So if
in.
you-
Nobody's like,
if
no
you could-
way.
If you could flip that out,
Yeah.
right?
Hell
Then it'd
yes.
be no hands. It'd be hands down.
No
We'd be
argument.
All right, guys, this won't be the last time we talk about Deshaun Watson. Before we move it along here, I got to say this is totally out of left field. I saw Mike's shoes, and for a second, I couldn't see the differentiation between the socks and the shoe. I was confused for a second. I
That is-
thought that was
yeah.
the sock.
I thought that was
and
part
then
of
I
like a boot-
realized
like a boot
the sock
heel.
is blue and the shoe
Right.
is actually gray in the back.
Put that back up there again. It looks.
Those are some wild
Get
shoes. Look at that.
Those are my dad New Balance.
He got
I
the-
like those.
he got the-
They are, I can't say how comfortable these are
G, he
enough.
got the Jack Harlow's on.
Yeah.
There you go.
They look like sandals. Like the back cut
They're
off.
trying to
I'm
make
like,
up
Right,
their
that's what I
mind.
thought. But
Yeah.
you had like Santa